would you treat issues between the Axis and the Atlas?
Yeah, I go for C2. So we're talking about a pole issue. It's not the pole, for Christ's sake. So if the Atlas and the Axis, which is C1, C2, I treat C2, I treat hyoid, and I would check C2, hyoid, and the TMJ. But you need to know how to do that. So again, we're going to refer you onto my website, which is langederequine.com.
Thanks, Lauren, for the question. How would you treat the hamstrings for a tight hamstringed horse? Do you have any videos for that?
We just watched one. The hamstring breaks up into 3 different parts. You've got semimembranosus, semitendinosus, biceps femoris. The only ones that are sore usually is semimembranosus, which is right on the inside, and biceps femoris. Semitendinosus is very rarely sore. My name's Christian Langeder and I'm an equine soft tissue therapist. I specialise in treating muscular issues in performance horses. All we're doing here is we're going to go through my TikToks. I say ours because Drew's here. Go through my TikToks, explain things a little better, go into a little more depth. We're live on TikTok here as well. Any questions that come up are going to come up and we're going to try to answer them. We're just trying all different things, different scenarios. We want to see what works, what doesn't. The whole idea of this is to help people get to know their horses better. That's the key, right? So we know what's going on with their muscles. We know if you've got a vet problem. We know if you've got a muscle problem, saddle problem, gut problem, all that. Anyway, you're looking. Is there a question, Drew?
Not a question, just a bunch of support. Lauren saying, love your work, definitely needs some advice. Your beautiful wife, Poochie, has joined the live.
Oh, hello, Pooch! Hi, how you going?
And yeah, just a couple of comments saying that they love what you do and you've got magic hands and all that normal stuff.
Cool.
When you check for soreness, is it best to check before or after a workout?
Does not matter. So it doesn't matter. They're going to be sore before or after the workout. So I don't care if it's a horse that has just worked, hasn't worked, is standing still out of the paddock, whatever. If you know how to check a horse, here's the thing, like if you know how to check and you're looking for sore muscles, they're always going to be reactive regardless of what time you check. Cool?
Cool.
Let's do the next one. Now?
We have another question.
Question time.
Question time.
Yeah, sure.
Do scars have an effect on the movement longevity of the muscle tissue?
Definitely can have so there's not always soreness. Once they've got a tear and once there's a scar, there will definitely be a hindrance in movement, or may not be, depending on how severe it is. Does it? So yes, it will affect the movement, or it could possibly affect it depending on how big the scar is, how brutal the tear is in the muscle. Scars on skin won't, but in the muscle or fascia it will. Longevity, no. You're just going to find that the horse might have a bit of a bias. Will it cause pain? Not usually. So even if you have I've seen crazy holes in horses, and you know what? They're absolutely fine. They're kind of built to just carry on. Yes, they will, like I said, they'll have a bias, they'll move, they might have a weird gait or a shortened stride, but they're not necessarily sore and they won't have any discomfort. Yeah?
Before it vanishes.
Yes.
Hey. I'm sure you've heard this a lot, Christian. If we send you a video of our horse reacting to a sore spot, will you give us your opinion on what you think it is and how to treat?
Who is it?
It is Maria McNell 05. Maria McNell.
Yeah. Hi Maria, how you going? Thanks for the question. I would love to, but I am so crazy busy. I already get up at 5:30, as Putji knows. I already get up at 5:30 in the morning, get home about 7:30 to 8 o'clock p.m. at night, and then I try to do as much social media stuff as possible. I'm incapable of finding more time in the day to be able to help, but that is the exact reason why I created my website, for you to be able to check your own horse. I often hear people saying that they've got a problem with their horse. They had a therapist out. I should be talking to this. I have a problem with my horse. I have a therapist out. I still have the problem. Could you please look at this? And I get so many videos, I cannot begin to tell you. I can't keep up with them. So that's why I built the website. It's so you can go and, it's not intimidating. It's really easy. I've tried to dumb this down. Look, it's it's exactly how I check a horse and how I look over 100 horses a week. I'm trying to teach people how to understand how to check their horses. So then, even if you can't do it, you can get a therapist or a vet in, you can check it before, then the therapist treats it, then you can check after, or you can check it and say, fix this right here. That's the whole idea of my website. If you hadn't had a look, please go and have a look. There's an example of what a module looks like. There's a bunch of them there. It covers the whole horse. Go have a look. Like I said, there's an example. It's in English. There are videos there, etc. So I'm sorry, Mary, but I can't.
I'm sorry, Mariah.
Mariah, sorry.
Mariah just says, thank you for the response. I figured that would be the situation. Thank you. I learned so much from your videos. So hopefully she'll go and check out the website, which is langederequine.com, but we'll put it up on the screen. And
I love that we got that done. Thanks for the question. It's so cool. Thanks.
We'll go through these quite quickly because they're vanishing.
All right.
Robbie. Thoughts on blooding a racehorse?
Don't have any. That's a vet's job.
Do you ever come to Townsville?
No, sorry. I don't get out that far. We're answering quickly. Don't get out that far. I'm sorry. I'm too busy. I'm stuck in Melbourne, stuck around Cramen Racetrack, Caulfield Racetrack, Mornington Racetrack, and a few other areas. I am too busy. I can't get out. Locked in Melbourne.
Accepting extreme offers to
travel
there.
Crazy offers.
There. They can email Christian at langederequine.com.
Sure.
With an extreme offer.
Yeah. Extreme offers, yes. I had an extreme offer. I've been offered to go out to an aquarium in Italy to go and work with dolphins, etc. That would be insane. Thinking about it, yes.
Yes. Do you have horses that you treat on a regular weekly basis to keep them sound, or what sort of time frame do you consider regular? Never
weekly. If I have to see a horse weekly, I would punch myself in the face. So never regularly. The most regular, I have one stable, and it revolves horses. I'd say once a month for maintenance. What's wrong?
This says Shock'em came from last round the turn and won.
There you go. Well done, Alex Ray. There's another one. All of a sudden,
provided that's accurate.
If that's right, it's going to light up my TikTok. So there we go. That's 4 out of 4 that I mentioned that won their next start. We're doing pretty well. Congratulations, Alex. That's what a team effort. So,
Rachel Land on the live. Thanks for sharing your knowledge and direction. You helped my mare make it through her first 100-mile race.
See? How cool is that? This is the reason. You're welcome, Rachel. This is the reason why I do this sort of stuff. Is that I know that here in Australia we have, firstly, I'm too busy to treat everyone's horse. I can only do so many with these hands. Secondly, here in Australia we have so many remote areas and we need people to be able to understand what's going on with their own horses. So if I can help in any way, shape or form, you understand what's going on, so then you can better choose treatment, either do it yourself, get a vet, etc. And so I like to always give people options. Live question, does your technique only apply to horses or other animals and humans as well? I have treated, recently I was at Werribee Zoo treating rhinoceros and camels. I started with dogs, I've done snakes, chickens, swans, kangaroos, rabbits, like koalas, people. I've never treated a person professionally. So it works with everything. Muscle is muscle no matter where you look at. Snakes I've treated, so if that answers your question. It works with everybody.
Question from live. Interesting one. Have you ever had any horses approach you knowing you were there to help them with their soreness? So wandering up to you impromptu?
Not impromptu normally, but here's the thing about me now is I can't just pat a horse. So, they work out pretty quickly that I'm trying to help, because even if I go up to a horse and just pat it, I'm already even if it's the face, I'm already checking the jaw, checking under the tongue, etc., and start treating them automatically. So not impromptu, so to speak, that I can recall, but definitely the ones that I treat often always know who I am, always recognise me and understand what I'm there for. Yeah. Thanks for the question, though.
Another question from live.
Sure.
Have you ever treated any horses from Melbourne Cup races?
Yes. And I've forgotten what its name was. Yes, I have. is the short question. I've forgotten its name. It was a long time ago, and we'll see what happens. I've treated a lot for a lot of the other races, but yes, absolutely.
With your experience, is there any common practices in the horse world you disagree with or won't do, assuming they're talking about treatments, medical stuff?
Yeah, you know what, there's a lot that I don't agree with, there's a lot that I agree with. I don't really want to name them. I think that we over-service horses because I think anything, if you worry about it enough, you start over-servicing. I think that a lot of things are, the old school, Dr. Time and Dr. Grass or something to that effect, give it, horses eat grass. If you put them out in the paddock, the amount of race horses that I see once they go for a break, or any horse that once they go for a break and they just get to be horses and eat grass, the amount that fixes is incredible. I think that we play around with things too much, but I'm a real natural therapies kind of a person. So although I love medicine, vets, I work with so many vets and I'm really lucky to work with good ones. There are plenty of things. I'm sure in all industries, in everything, there are things that we don't like and things we like, but I'm not going to go into particular ones.
Is it common for soreness to be treated and then return a couple of days later, especially in the hind area?
No, unless you've got a structural issue or you've got an issue that you haven't fixed. So I'm, all right, one of the things that we go back to the other question, one of the things that I don't like is I'm not a fan of therapists who treat your horse and then get you to do exercises or stretches, etc. I'm like, just fix my horse. So, if things have come back, it means A, you didn't have a good therapist, or B, you've got something underlying that is not very good and you need to see a vet or a different person, or C, you're being a bully when you're riding, I guess.
You've already addressed this, but do you agree with massage guns being used on horses?
Yes, I agree with massage most things. The only therapies that I don't like are non-specific therapies. Like, I love magnets, I understand it, but if anything is general, it's sort of like I often say, it's kind of like sitting in a massage chair and expecting it to fix your your frozen shoulder. If you're a non-specific therapy like a massage chair, you're not going to fix specific issues. And if you do, it's going to be by accident. And again, that's why I do the diagnostic thing, because I want people to know exactly what they're trying to fix so you can be really specific with what you're treating. Ta-da! Cool.
There's multiple comments. You need to come to Canada. So again, if you
Canada is a big thing. I'm talking to a few people in Canada. I'd love to come to Canada. Canada, America, Ireland, England are the big ones that I'm talking to a lot of people for.
How long does it last after a treatment?
Until it's re-injured. So it's fixed. If it didn't fix, I rarely charge anyone if it didn't fix the first time. But I'm lucky. I'm just lucky to be good at what I do.
Thanks, Jake.
Thanks, Jake.
Could you show some massage techniques that can be used? I know there is a TikTok where you mention them, but maybe if you could show some different techniques. I guess this person is talking about, this is Jenny Hopkins, by the way, talking about on the YouTubes and the Facebooks.
Yeah.
It may be a little bit clearer. I'm not convinced that what I'm doing is very effective.
I sound like I'm really trying to sell my website at the moment, but the thing is, I don't care how to massage, what thing to use, etc. It doesn't matter what you use. I don't care if you use a red light therapy gun, like a massage gun, if you just rub it, if you pluck it, tweak it, strip it, like whatever. So long as, if you know, I feel like Mr. Miyagi, right? Paint the fence. If you know how to check your horse and to see if it's sore, then you know the muscle that's sore, then you can do almost anything to it to help it. And then afterwards you can check it and see that it's not sore. The only way you're going to learn how to know if you're effective is by knowing if you've helped the muscle. So the only way you know that is by diagnosis, by checking your horse. And the way you check your horse or learn to check your horse is on my website. It is really cheap, it's simple to understand. And it will go over your whole horse. And it'll also show you if you can't make any difference and you need a professional. It'll show you which professional to use.
Does something like this work on humans?
Yes. Osteopathy. Go see an osteopath.
What does treatment cost?
For me, it's $150 a horse. So, for the same thing, for a treatment for me, you can pretty much buy the diagnostic thing on the website. You can't book me. I'm unbookable. I'm sorry to say, I closed my books 5 years ago. I've taken a couple of little clients here and there that I'm excited about. Aside from that, I'm completely unbookable. You cannot get hold of me. That's why I'm doing this, to try to show people how to help themselves.
The last one's just a comment. I breed warm bloods and love your videos.
Thank you. Who was it?
Yep, I do know. And that was Lady T Sings.
Awesome. Thank you.
Sounds like
Yeah,
some sort
thanks so much. Drew.
Sorry, there's just some more questions coming through. I watch you from the... comment, I'm sorry. I watch you from the US. I have used your techniques on the horses that I groom. That was Tim the Clipper guy. He's a groomer.
Yeah, well done, Tim. That's the idea. I am writing a course on teaching people how I treat too. Poor Drew's getting
Thank you for sharing your knowledge and techniques. You're an amazing man. My mare has a problem hip.
Yep.
Is there anything I can do to prevent it from re-injuring so quickly?
See a therapist. Get a therapist out, quite honestly. Or use your own massage stuff. It's probably all pelvic, like the pelvic muscles.
Dragon Prince 355, thank you. Linda, you're one amazing man with them hands. Thank you, Linda. Journey's mama, thanks for sharing your knowledge and techniques.
Welcome.
He's right behind you, says, bros treated everything.
I love it.
Will you come to the US? Oh, God.
I will definitely get to the US. That is like 100% certainty. I'm no plans right yet. I've got too many things to do here. I'm trying to write my course, and then I will probably create clinics for learning how to both diagnose and then treat how I treat.
Is this sort of treatment any good for a horse that ties up?
No. So tying up is really complicated. There's a lot of magnesium and calcium balance things. You're going to have more luck with a vet than you are with a masseuse. So speak to your vets. I'm sure that there are things that they can do. Tying up is such a complex thing because there are so many variables to it.
More from Rob's. We need you when you come into Canada. Yeah. The mare stare, I don't know where they're from, but we need you so bad here. It sounds like people are going to have to rally the government and send a jet.
Right.
That's the only...
Let's do that.
Yeah.
Do you want to ask a couple of questions and then we can start with that?
What's your favourite horse breed?
Thoroughbreds. I love thoroughbreds. They're really honest, and I work with a lot of them. And I think what you see from the minute you're with them is what you get. Yes, I like them. Yes.
Forgive me if I'm mispronouncing.
Yep.
Do you think girl horses are better than boy horses?
I like stallions. I work with a lot of stallions, breeding, racing, colts, everything like that. So I actually prefer to work with colts and stallions. I just find them, I don't know, they're just good. You know, you can upset a mare and then you're never coming back.
Any Arabian horse farms down there you've been to?
Yes, Future Farms. It's a huge one. If you don't know them, have a look. The Durtels, they're massive. So yes, I deal with them. I treat their stallions and I'm looking at Drew, sorry. Treat their stallions and their warm bloods. Again, Jess Durtel's doing amazing stuff in the dressage at the moment, so making sure that all her horses are good too. Yes.
I was going to jump into a video, but business question.
Yeah.
What is your advice for a massage therapist to expand their clientele? From Reese.
Hey Reese, how do you expand your clientele? If you don't already do a stable for free, I would recommend that. I don't know how advanced you are, but I was working at quite a large stable for free for a while. I was just honing my craft and I was posting everything that I could on Facebook, showing people that I did it. And I used to back then, this is like 20 years ago, I used to realise if I was having a slow week and I put a post on Facebook up of something that I'd done that week, I would always find that a few people would book in. I think that's a good way of doing it. I think dealing with the people and dealing with a large amount of horses. So I don't care if it's riding for the disabled, a race stable, a rescue stable, whatever. I think going and donating time in a big stable where you got lots of work so you can hone your craft is huge. And then just post and talk about it, and always talk to people about you doing what you're doing.
What foods would you recommend to all the horse owners to avoid or not feed their horses? From Granny's Undies.
Granny's Undies was last week too, I'm sure. Hi, Granny's Undies again. I am very aware of when I overstep my mark. I don't give dietary advice. I occasionally give supplementary stuff if you're magnesium deficient or if you're toxic. I don't try to be a saddle fitter. I don't try to be a vet. I don't try to be a dentist, a farrier. I leave the feed for other people. There are people who are experts in food. There are people who are experts in veterinary, etc. I know my station and I brutally stick to it.
Nico, just a comment, just shouting you out. I'm a body worker in Canada. I love your videos. Thanks for sharing. So we've got Canada in the house.
Canada in the house.
Also, Stars and
Thanks,
Sunsets
Canada.
is watching from Michigan,
Yep.
United Statesies. Why do you like Equisure for fillies or mares with potential stomach ulcers?
Not for ulcers, for hindgut issues. So for any type of hindgut issue, it's an encapsulated bicarb which becomes active in the hindgut if you've got acidity lesions or ulcers. The Equisure alkalizes the hindgut so those lesions can heal. I've just found it's very common here, very popular here, and it just works. It's not messy. You don't have to muck around too much. It just works, and it's always a first port of call. Naturally, if things persist, and naturally, if you've got ovarian cysts or something to that effect, then you're going to have to see a vet. But it's a good starter, and usually least invasive first. It usually works. Yay!
Would you use it for all filled mares or all gelding as well?
I would use it for fillies, geldings, stallions, colts, whatever, anything. If you're palpating sore in the hindgut, I would definitely use it. Doesn't matter what you are.
Do you do anything with your hands, or is it just placed on the horse's muscles?
I am just touching the muscle, but what I'm actually doing is I'm initiating a response in the muscle to trip out the Golgi tendon organs. The Golgi tendon organs are a thing that it's a release for the muscle, but sometimes they crank up to help balance or help support. And basically, I'm creating a response in the muscle to trip out those organs so the muscle goes loose. But when you see me palpate, when I'm checking, not only am I checking, I'm already treating. So I'm already treating the fascia when you see me check, and then when I'm touching it, and I'm barely touching it, I'm tripping out the muscle. Yes, Drew.
Would you say your method is similar to Masterson's method?
No, but it's very commonly, I was in a documentary with Jim Masterson in America. It is called, I will remember what it's called in a bit, but it was an award-winning documentary called Listening to the Horse. So I was actually in a documentary with Jim Masterson. I'm commonly thought that I'm similar. I don't know enough about his work. I do recommend people in America, if they call me and ask me if I can help them, I often ask them to go and see a Masterson method practitioner. I don't know that I'm the same. He palpates differently. We're very different, but I'm sure there'd be similarities is probably the best answer.
How did you learn that, or are you a magician?
I'm a magician. I'm a freaking magician. I learnt it over a long period of time. It's been 25 years, and I still remember the day that I actually learnt how to touch the muscles and trip them out. I was at a polo stable. Inga Burke, who's Village Roadshow Cinemas, or was, her dad was. I was at Inga Burke's stable and she gave me about 30 horses to do. And I was just sitting there going, if I'm actually good at this, I should be able to just touch the muscles and trip it out. And I did it and I was like, oh, fuck, I'm a wizard. Anyway, and so from there on, I've been doing it like that ever since.
I'll just jump to, that was from Jam.
Yeah.
He's asked a follow-up question.
Yeah.
When you say, I think he's saying, when you say trip them out, do you sense it in your fingertips and then do something at that actual moment?
I sense it in my fingertips, but I think that what happens is, as someone that treats, you can't if you put in too much intent, you're going to get exhausted. This is probably really osteopathic and more sacrocranial osteopathic, or any type of healer, masseuse, whatever. If you put too much intent in, not only do you bully the animal, you don't get as good a result. You just have to sit there. I literally touch the muscle and observe it. and it changes for me. I always say I think the muscles kind of go, they want to be normal, and as soon as they realise that you're looking at them, they go, oh shit, sorry, and they readjust themselves. So that's kind of how I look at my treatment. I can feel when it gives up. Yes, I can feel either heat dissipate. There's a whole different feel that the muscle has to it. So I can feel if it gets annoyed, and I can feel when it releases.
2 times 44 says, could you do this work on elite athletes?
Yes. Yeah, anything with muscles.
Amber Manley, I wish you would come to the USA. You're so good.
I am definitely going to come to the States. So at some point I will get to America without 100%.
Jamba Wamba 23, can you use this pressure technique on humans?
Yes.
So same question as before. Peter Jean just says, hi Christian.
Hi mate, how you going?
Could this treatment be replicated on the humans? Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's the difference in muscle response?
No difference whatsoever. I think that the only difference is, you know what, I often say that you can't give an animal a placebo. So the thing with animals is, if you treat it and they do not respond after treatment, you've actually fixed it. So there's no placebo with an animal. You have to fix it or you have not.
How many people are trained like you?
Oh, God. You know what? I am one of all sorts of different types of therapies. Trained like me, just me, because this is my unique therapy. Well, actually, no, I've trained 2 people. One is currently in the States and one is here, but aside from that, it's just me. But there's osteopaths, sacrocranial osteopaths, all sorts of amazing people that do other stuff.
Watch your ears.
What's my ears?
Yeah, maybe.
So that is the Bucatina saddle pod? Yes. Yeah, cool. That's where we are. This is Bruno. I keep on asking his name because I'm hopeless with names. Now, you have a horse that is girthy. So when you're doing up the girth, that is a problem. There are a couple of things that I look for. And so one of them is up here. That's not what he's just telling me to go away. One's here. One's a tricep. And for him, the main one is the deep pec. So the deep pec is this one under here. And when I touch him on the deep pec, that's what we get there. So you can see how horrible that is. So you can imagine that if you're actually girthing up, this would be an issue. You're up, mate. So now I'm going to treat it. I'm just going to be calm here. I'm going to treat it. So the thing is, you can be forgiven for thinking it's a girth or it's something else or it's gut. So always also often check gut. But on him, with such a strong reaction, it wouldn't surprise him that whenever you girth him, he jumps away from you. Now, I'm going to let him go into a bit of a zone. And then that's the same muscle. Yeah? So if you want to come through here, so you can actually go underneath the horse, so you can see them actually not being nice about it, that is actually the same muscle that I just treated. Yeah? So if you're girthy, be mindful and just check under between the front legs. Thank you. Thanks. Girthiness or cinchiness, as they say in America. I think, is that what it like? So, well, there's people on TikTok. Is girthiness cinchiness? It's very difficult to answer things in such short, sharp messages. You're going to be looking tricep, gut, deep pec, withers mostly, or lats. But in that one it was a deep pec, and I'm glad I showed under the horse so you could show exactly that I treated it and that it was not reactive after I'd done it, and I wasn't being nice about it. That was in Singapore. I was there earlier this year or later last year. I can't remember.
A bunch more of the usual. Please come to Ontario, which
Canada.
is
Canada.
Dawn.
Definitely Canada and America. I definitely the most popular ones I get from Canada, America, Ireland, England, and some New Zealand.
Danica B7, how did you learn this bodywork? And do you have a veterinary degree?
I don't have a veterinary degree. No, I refer on to vets. I work with a truckload of vets, and I refer on to them. So I pass on when they're needed. How did I learn? Bowen therapy was the beginning for me. Being obsessed with osteopathy. thing called Equus Muscle Management was a help. There was a whole bunch of different stuff, but pretty much I've been obsessed with muscle, nerve and fascia for the last 25 years, and I've had an awesome playground to muck around with and hone my skills. And I'm a bit of a mad scientist and a bit of an illusionist, I guess.
And Jams, I guess, really has already been answered. How did you get into this field of work?
Yeah, by injuring myself and actually finding things that helped me. And things that I really loved. I started firstly dealing with dogs, secondly dealing with horses. There's SBS is a TV station here in Australia. SBS The Feed. If you put in or Google SBS The Feed, The Horse Mechanic, it'll have a story of how I started everything.
Katie Sunrise, I have to ask, lol, did you ever get kicked from checking soreness?
Been kicked 3 times and bitten once, and had my shoulder destroyed not that long ago. But that's about it. In 25 years, I'm doing pretty good. I'm playing Russian roulette, though. I know that.
Jamie asks, have stables tried to exclusively hire you?
Yes.
And how much money would that take?
Yeah, you couldn't do it. I wouldn't exclusively go for a stable. I'm way too busy. I like the idea of being able to have a bunch of different stables, a bunch of different horses, and a bunch of different horse disciplines. So I actually like the broad. It would take. I just would not work for a big stable. I would, but I would not. It would take too much.
Got you. Gail, just because she's leaving, I have to go. Will this talk be up on his site? It will be.
It will be on YouTube. It will be on YouTube. It'll come up tomorrow, more than likely. Unless Drew has an absolute blinder today and can't talk. But it will be up. Yes, definitely. Have a look at YouTube. There's the other ones as well. So this is number 6.
Yep.
And just check them out. Tell us how we're progressing. Tell us if we are doing good. Even explain to us if there's anything you'd like to know, like to see on this podcast showy thing.
YouTube/Christian Langeder.
Yeah.
Are these pressure points that you touch when you check for pain?
No, they're muscles, and I'm tripping out muscle. It's just a Golgi tendon, organs, muscles, fascia, not pressure points, but it could look similar.
John Reynolds, does this skill set help pick winners at the races? John, I recommend you watch the last episode.
The last few, excuse me, I think I just spat. The last few, we had, Edna's Dream is coming up. I think she'd probably go okay on Sunday. We had Chocomovo, we had Seb's Song, we had Benedetta, we've had Rick's Cafe, The Little Pony, which I don't know if we show today, they won. Yes, so I don't know if it helps pick winners. I wouldn't, I'm sort of like the octopus that picks footy scores.
Do you need an apprentice from Kayla?
No, sorry, Kayla, not right now. But I am writing a course and teaching people how to check, and you can go to my website. Teaching people how to treat, and you can go to my website and learn how to check your own horse. I want to do a certificate course, so it's taking a little bit of doing.
If you ever have any DOMs or soreness yourself, do you do this trick on yourself, and does it work?
Yes, and yes. Yeah, I'm always treating myself. And yes, it works, but I don't zone myself out.
You, John Reynolds, what was the horse that is running on Sunday, please?
Oh, on Sunday, that was Edna's Dream. ENAS Dream. So Edna's Dream. I'm sure there are a few others that are running that I've treated, but I can't off the top of my head. I'm sure Pat Carey has some. I'm sure Shane Nichols has some. And we've got to mention Jim Mason because I just want to make sure I mention Jim, who's the happiest guy. And if you ever see Jim and you know him, just take him a bag of twisties. He'll love it. Just throw twisties at him.
Chevron Hooligan.
Yes.
Will this certificate course be available online?
Yes, absolutely. It's going to be an online thing. And then hopefully I will travel the world and do clinics and teach people.
All right, the last one before we do another video.
Yes.
My horse, this is from Pookie. My horse.
Is that Poochie?
No.
No. Huh.
My horse gets small kind of lumps behind where the saddle sits on his back.
Yes.
Can these get treated?
Yes. They're like little subdermal masses. They could be ingrown hairs. They could be all sorts of stuff. The vets often inject them. Basically, at this point, if you're in Australia and the horse is changing coat, they're getting a bit sweaty, make sure you wash them properly and speak to your vet about them, because they can become active and become pretty horrible. But they usually are like ingrown hairs or pimples, and ingrown hairs and pimples, and they'll go up and come down. But you just got to make sure that everything's clean, and if they get horrible, see a vet.
Equine Jules. Do you believe that the horse needs to be in proper alignment for your treatments to hold?
No, because I'm putting them in alignment. The muscles hold the structure. Contrary to chiropractic, which believes that the structure somehow holds the muscles, I am different. I have a different bias. No, the horse doesn't have to be standing square, doesn't have to be in alignment, anything. If you treat all the cables and then have the horse go through normal movement or normal work, it will realign itself. Or when you hear a crack of a joint, all it is the fluid in the joints creating gas. And once you've realigned the horse and the horse is actually back in homeostasis, it will reabsorb the gas and you won't get a pop. Sorry, that's really quick, and I could speak about each one for about a week.
Flying Dranch just says, good evening from Tennessee.
Hello, Tennessee. Welcome to sunny Australia.
How come you don't need much pressure?
Because I am treating the nervous system. I am not bullying the muscle. I'm not massaging the muscle. I do roll, and I sometimes use pressure when I do that Bowen kind of opening up of the fascia. When I'm treating, the lighter the better, because you don't bully the muscle and I can feel what's going on. I don't feel the pressure. I just rest my fingers on the muscle and I create a response in the muscle that releases the Golgi tendon organ. There are a few things to Google and check up there. I feel like Dr. Karl Kruszyniski. All right, then go and check the fascia and Golgi tendon organ.
I'm going to murder this name. PJ Marco. What if your mare has a fit if you try for deep pecs? I assume touching them.
Yeah, deep pec. Well, then you could actually have an ulcer issue, so check for ulcers. Aside from that, you just have to be gentle. So I figure if you can't touch her deep pecs, you can't girth her up or cinch her up. So you're just going to have to be careful and be mindful still yourself and make sure that her gut is fine.
Diggs, hello from North Texas.
Oh, Texas! Everything's bigger in Texas.
Ems, how often should horses be getting adjusted?
Professionals once a month, like I do. Horses that are going to the Olympics, race horses, once a month is good. If your horse is just a normal horse, work should not make your horse worse. Work should actually help your horse stay together. So, look, I know 2 or 3 months to half a year, depending on how heavily you work.
Lola asks, will or do you ever come to Sydney?
Ooh, I'm going to be doing a sneaky shoot-in, shoot-out of Sydney in a couple of weeks, because we need to go up and make sure that Benedetta, who is in one of my videos, is ready to run, but I won't have time to treat anyone else. So, sorry, what Christian giveth, Christian taketh away. No, look, I'm going over there, but not, just for a specific horse.
Our horses love Christian. Sammy Kilgore?
Mm-hmm. Mm. Yeah. Hello, Sammy. Yes, I know.
All right, one more. Can you say hi to my friend Hannah? She loves your page and is pursuing her equine dream.
Oh, good. What's her dream? If it's the same, absolutely keep going for it. You're going to go through a pit where you think you're a shit human being because you can't fix everything, but if you stick with it, you're going to absolutely kill it. So, yes, hi. Hi from
Hannah.
me. Hi, Hannah. Yeah.
Katie says, hey from Cairns.
Hey, Katie. Love Cairns.
Lola, also, do you recommend any supplements for horses that are regularly competing in evening and
Eventing?
sometimes struggle with stiff joints and slower to recover, especially hamstrings?
I always recommend, if you're tight in the muscles, I always recommend magnesium. I go for Cause Mag. It's a magnesium oxide powder. It's crudely taken up by the body, but effective. They use it for cattle and sheep. For a normal horse, I recommend about 40 grams. For a pony, 20. It's just a muscle relaxant. If you have joint issues, there are all sorts of joint supplements that you can use, or you see your vet and they can help you with other joint things. How are we going?
We're at 35 minutes. It's flown by. So
Yeah.
do you want to...
we should probably finish it up. Or
We
could finish this up and we can keep going with a few questions on TikTok
Chill
Live.
with the talkers.
Thank you so much. Please, I hope you like what we're doing. Hope it's helpful. I know you're kind of bouncing from TikTok to YouTube to my website, etc. But it's all in the hope that that I'm educating you and helping you with your horse. I don't care if it's racing, dressage, polo, whatever, showing anything. This is the intention. If you have any questions, feel free to jump on that or ask questions on YouTube. But thank you very much. Have a great day.